Greetings and welcome. Who says that, Blake? Greetings and welcome. I haven't
Sounds
heard
like my show.
It does. I haven't heard you say that in so long. Greetings and welcome.
Good old days. Yes. It's a rising star on Blog Talk. Taking over the Freedomizer Network.
Yeah, I used to enjoy that.
Welcome to The Eccentric Perspective. I am your host, Blake the Eccentric, on Freedomizer Radio. Okay.
Greetings and welcome, he says. That is Blake the Eccentric, as he said. You can follow him on X at TV's Blake Walley, BlakeWalley. You can follow him at thenextlevelnews.com for the archival awesomeness that he purports to present perpetually. He perpetually purports to present. Say that one time fast.
Perpetually purports to present.
That's tricky. That's an Eminem.
I love my alliterations very well.
Yes, Blake loves his alliterations. Yes. He's adamant about alliterations. There was another one. Triple word score. But hi, everybody. This is Thursday, December 7, 2023. My name is Brian Engelman. This is the Agree to Disagree show that says it right up there in the corner of the screen, because we should be able to have robust conversation about things that you don't agree with. We should be able to have more conversations. Don't let these clowns tell you you're not supposed to discuss politics and religion. It's like, that's kind of the most important stuff around. You know, sports ball is fun, but it's irrelevant. It's just a distraction in the grand scheme of things. So we talk about all the things in the current events, the world of current events here, and we appreciate you watching. So follow the New American Media in all the places, especially on Spotify. Search the Agree to Disagree show and subscribe to our Spotify podcast. TV's Blake Wowee, says Kenneth B. Hi, Kenneth B. And everybody else in the chat room, please leave your comments. We love reading them in real time. It adds so much to the show. Also, we want you to follow the New American Media on Rumble. I believe today's show is allegedly the first episode that is going to be streaming through Restream. So in theory, we're live on Rumble right now. I don't know. I'm not sure how to check it. I'm clicking. I can't find it. But look, we can't trust YouTube, so we go to Rumble. You can't trust Facebook, so we go to Telegram. You can't trust this, that, or the other. So you go to X and you go to Truth. So follow us in all those places, the Agree to Disagree show and the New American Media, please. Blake, let's get into today's show. I guess it's going to be a bit of an abbreviated fiesta today. So I think we should just jump right into it and discuss all of the fun stuff.
Yeah.
All right, America is in peril, as shown by the upside down flag, the international symbol for a nation in distress, being invaded at the southern border, being weakened across the globe, depleting our natural strategic oil reserves, really just on the verge of cataclysm. Wait for the lights to go out and get ready to defend yourself. We are in a difficult time to be an American, but when has it ever been easy to be an American? I guess maybe post World War II, we had like maybe a decade. Even then, we were.
Yeah.
That was like what, like maybe a heyday, but even then, it was still resolving all that civil rights crap that didn't, kind of sorted out. What, the late 60s, early 70s, and pockets of still not having things figured. We're always trying to improve. But yeah, there was maybe like a couple of decades there on the right track. Sort of. I don't know. But I guess we're always dancing around cataclysms, I suppose. But
what we were dancing around, we were pretty good. Yes. 80s were great. 90s we're probably pretty spoiled. And then things changed quite a bit in the 21st century.
Maybe the 90s were the golden era. Maybe the 90s were it. And we were blessed.
Seems like we were like almost too spoiled, though, at that point. Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, when the computer age came out, we were the video game generation, the millennial, the exennial, the like that era of late 70s, 80s into the 90s. I mean, pre 9/11. It was just like a nice pocket of awesome. You know, there are plenty of as always, but I mean, comparatively, it just seems like the U.S. today is on the brink of just a neutron explosion. It's just a big bang, you know, going into space, or you're dropping in like the what was that craft that went underwater and imploded on itself? What was that thing called? Discovery.
What, that submarine and the Titanic wreckage? Yeah, I don't remember, but
I feel like we're on the verge of imploding. Frankie is saying test only on Rumble. Can you elaborate with more than those 4 words? What does that mean? Is that
the test run you did yesterday, but it's not the actual show today. That's what she's saying. So it's not connected right now.
Oh, because I did click on it. That's interesting.
All right.
Yeah, I was hoping that would have come up, but you know, it's a work in process. We're trying it. Yeah, if you want to have a nightmare, a fever dream nightmare scenario, go ahead and watch that restream today. It's pretty. I just kind of make noise over and over and over, and it says unable to connect on Rumble. I don't understand that.
We might have too many links too. I think we only have like 8 of them, so we can probably kick off one of these other ones.
I'll try something different next time.
Kick off Twitch or something.
I'd definitely go with Rumble over some of those other opportunities. But yeah, it's weird because I did the test. But yeah, I was holding up my phone and I was making noises, but I was talking to myself and it was on a loop and then it was speaking again. So as I kept clicking and making noises and saying phrases, it just kept looping on itself. I felt like one of those avant-garde musicians with a keypad and a loop machine, or I was like in a nightmare of myself. But yeah, that's what that test was. So no need to watch that, Frankie, unless you want to. You know what, Frank? Enjoy and leave a comment. Let me know how awesome it was. Okay, so let's get into it for today. Blake, agree or disagree that Nimrata Nikki Randhawa Haley won the 4th Republican debate? Agree or disagree?
Absolutely disagree.
You don't think Nimrata Nikki Randhawa Haley won the 4th Republican debate?
Not at all, except for the loud group of donors in the rows in the debate seemed to think she was doing great because they funded her campaign. I'm sure a lot of the deep state assets wanted her to win, and we'll try to convince anyone that's willing to listen that she was the winner. Of course, the neocons love her. And I think Drudge got rid of the poll. I was looking last night. I don't think they do that poll anymore, and I might be partially responsible for that since I blasted him on Twitter, and then somebody bigger retweeted that, and I'm sure it got word to him. Not that it was anything personal against Drudge. I'm just pointing out that the traffic is a fraction of what it used to be. And there's hardly anybody that voted in the poll. The ones that did voted for Nikki Haley. So it shows you where it happened to his audience. But yes, it's no longer there.
Drudge has lost the plot. They used to be relevant.
Yeah.
I don't know. They turned on Trump and they lost their audience. I mean, there's a lesson there. And it's not like some blind allegiance to some guy named Trump. It's just that like we've seen 4 years of what he does. We've seen 4 years of what he doesn't do. And now it's like, okay, knowing that he's been framed so many times, knowing now that what the deep state apparatus with the little tech tyrants and their censorship and all of the flagrant civil rights violations that people in government have colluding to fortify their last election. I mean, we can't wait. We're so excited for 11 months from now just to get a real president back in and to go in and clean up. Now you know where everything is at. Now you know where the biggest turds are because you've kind of, the plumbing has been clogged, Blake. You popped out the clean out caps and you're pushing the snake down there and you're twisting. We know where the big turds are now. Like America wants to see Trump flush this down into the sewer where it belongs. And we've never seen a president treated so unfairly in the history of this country. And, for Drudge to turn on him is ridiculous. For Fox to turn on him is ridiculous. Oh, by the way, I have so many thoughts on Nikki Haley and Drudge, but did you hear that there's a rumor floating around now? Because obviously it's like, well, who's going to? Have you heard the rumor that's starting to float that Melania? It's just a rumor that Melania is trying to push for Tucker Carlson to be the vice president, a Trump Tucker ticket. The rumor is that she says he's got great common sense and instincts. So I don't know if you've heard that one yet.
I have not heard that one yet, but I'm not opposed to it. That could actually be a working combo. Because usually we're trying to like force two alphas together. That's never going to work. You got to have a complementary piece.
I think it would work just fine.
Even. You can't have two alphas.
You absolutely can. You absolutely can. There's nothing wrong with an alpha going, yeah, I would gladly serve as your right-hand person. I don't agree with you on everything. In fact, Tucker kind of famously was talking shit about Trump. You know, he was kind of down on the Trump presidency, but now he's fully endorsed him. I think when he was talking with Roseanne on a recent episode, he fully endorsed him. But no, I mean, to say, yeah, you did this for 4 years. I could learn plenty about geopolitical space. What if Tucker did his shows instead of his office in, where's he at, Wyoming or Montana or something, or Idaho or South Dakota?
I think
he's in one of the redoubt states, right?
I'm not 100% because I think, he was under attack. Like, he had crazy leftists like coming to his house. So he had to bail out of there. I don't know where he broadcasts from, but it's his own home, wherever that may be. Undisclosed location.
I could see Tucker be serving as vice president and broadcasting out of his, the vice president desk. Maybe you've never seen that before. He'll have his fireside chats and he can keep his business going. And, you could find a space for Vivek Ramaswamy, because I feel like nobody else on the stage should have anything, almost like a creep who gets busted doing something awful by Christie. You have to keep 400 yards away from the White House at all times. You are not allowed near any cabinet position because of your close proximity to Raytheon and Boeing and a buffet line, and your close proximity to bad decision makers, little Ronnie D, who convinced you to run against Trump in 2024, killing your political career. But anyway, we're kind of jumping past the headline here. But yeah, so Nimrata Nikki Rhonda Haley, the favorite of Boeing and Fox, it seems. She seems like she's the one that lost the biggest. I want to get your thoughts on that, but you mentioned polls. I want to give one more comment on Drudge Report. Everybody, please do me a favor on X, really quick. Go to @American_media_. At American_media_. Go there and vote in our poll. Blake, we 10x'd our stats for yesterday. We crushed the election coverage. Our stats were 10x what we normally are when we bust through and we're tweeting all day. We're 10-15x right now what we normally are. So we put all the polls up. People are voting in our polls like crazy. They loved the fact that I did it. Was it Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison? Maybe it's Billy Madison. It's Adam Sandler going,
right.
It's just a repeat of that GIF or that GIF.
Yep.
And I said, yeah, great idea for little Ronnie D to repeat his "there's a new sheriff in town" line twice in the same debate. I said it feels desperate and cringy or something like that. And people loved it. They can't stop sharing it. But yeah, go visit ours because people loved voting in our poll. I thought about doing a live stream yesterday, Blake. I didn't hit you up. I didn't even know if you were available, but I was like, maybe we should cover this live. Okay, we'll do it live, says Bill O'Reilly, famously.
Yeah, no, I had too much going on. I wouldn't have been able to join in. I would love to. And as soon as I could free up some more time so I could dedicate into this. Because, yeah, it was a good job, Brian, by spamming all the hashtags. You did very well. Good to get that engagement. I wish I could have live streamed the whole thing. Yeah, I was caught between that and work and errands, and I happened to have a Minnesota Timberwolves game. They're actually the best team in the NBA right now. It's the first time I've had a good team in 30 years, and they hardly ever televise NBA games. And, of course, they happened to televise it last night, so I had to watch that too, and I had to watch a lot of the GOP debate late. I was up late at night, finally finishing it on the replay. But yeah, it was worthwhile. It was great, and it was excellent watching Vivek, the rising star, clean up. And I was sad. I was a little frustrated that they allowed Christie back, but you know what? I actually should be thankful, because it was great that he got one more chance to absolutely get roasted on the stage, hopefully ending his political career along with Nikki Haley. So great stuff. I know you don't like.
There was a time, Blake.
Huh?
There was a time that early in his career, there was a time that I thought Christie, he brought some valuable stuff to the table. I don't know if he always sucked and I just never saw it, or he always sucked, but he had a couple of good opinions and a couple good one-liners. I'm like, oh, this guy's okay, and I didn't pay attention. Or if he's been on a slow decline. Like, I did a screenshot. If you scroll through the New American Media, I don't know. I did a bunch last night, but I took a screenshot of his sour face. And it was just like this scrunched up. It was, and if you notice, little Ronnie D had a scrunched face. Like, his whole face was scrunched and puckered up like an asshole. It was just all tight like this.
Yeah.
And that's what Christie looked like. AD looked like. It's just very off-putting. You have people like Gavin Newsom and Joe Biden with these big fake Jim Carrey and The Mask, toothy smiles, like they're creepy skeletons with big eyes and big smiles. So the opposite of perma smile, or the Joker face. So the opposite of that is scrunchy asshole face. But I took a picture, a screenshot of Christie, and when he had to listen to the question about Trump, I mean, it's just, you can see the Trump derangement syndrome in his face. Almost like if you let Bill Maher hear somebody discussing Trump in a non-derogatory way, Bill Maher's light switch flips off. Bill Maher turns into a nut job. Bill Maher's actually kind of come around on a lot of important points, but anytime you bring up Trump, his Trump derangement syndrome kicks in, and it is just bonkers. It is just bonkers with these people. But yeah, so there's so much to talk about, but Christie was sort of ended by Megyn Kelly. I found that to be fantastic. I don't know what clips you have, Blake, but let me just turn it over to you. I feel like I've talked the entire time here. I apologize, but I just got 1,000 thoughts in my head, and why don't you tell me some of your takes?
Some of those clips on, because there's a lot going on, but I mean, there's obviously a few major ones that are going to be the focus, that were the obvious highlights of the whole event last night. So that was good to see. And yes, Megyn Kelly, she can be pretty aggressive when she wants to be, and she did rail on some of those. I don't know if I have that particular clip either. But let me see what I do have, and we'll go from there. And I could probably find a bunch of them just on Vivek Ramaswamy's Twitter feed. But if you could find that one with Kelly and Christie, just in case, and I'll see what I can pull up. We'll just, too many open tabs here. Oh, what happened to the one I had? I don't remember. But anyway, let's get back to this. Of course.
Open tabs would be the good name for like a podcast or a show. Because, I mean, how many of us have too many open tabs? I feel like it's pretty relatable.
Yeah, absolutely. It does happen. It's a little too much as usual, but that's good. I mean, I still had to take away a fraction of the items that I had, so to cut it down so we could fit it all into a show. Otherwise, we'll be here for like 4 hours, which wouldn't be a bad thing if we had the time. But here we go. Of course, Trump not there, sitting in a courthouse. This is what's called election interference, is to ramp up the lawfare so Trump cannot participate. He should be in Iowa, is what he's saying, and he's still up by 40 points. He's not going to go on the stage, though, because he doesn't want to sit there and deal with Christie's shenanigans, because that's all he's there for, is to attack Trump. He's not really a viable candidate.
It's such a goofy strategy. It's just, and I hate to break it to you, but Donald Trump is going to be indicted of felonies, multiple felonies. What felonies? Well, are you kidding me? Like, there's no there. to quote the crybaby Van Jones, who could not imagine that they brought up on CNN after they discussed with Vivek Ramaswamy the replacement theory. Thankfully, it's being talked about. It's Mayorkas and Biden discussing their Democrat strategy as they leave the border open for 10 million people. Not that it's a bad thing. It's like a bad episode of Seinfeld. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Not that there's anything wrong with the great replacement theory. But Van Jones, he famously said that it's a nothing burger. It's a big nothing burger. You know, it's just so silly. I don't know if you caught Van Jones on that afterward, but that was ridiculous because that is the Democrat strategy. They want to dilute this nation from what it is into something different. These are their words. And then when you mention their words, they get mad at you for calling them out on what they are publicly saying that they are doing. And at least Vivek is open to discussing it boldly. He'll stand in front of anybody and take any question. I respect Vivek for that, at least. I really appreciate that strategy. He will walk into any viper's nest. Is it a nest? A nest of vipers? A room of vipers?
Viper's den? Pit? I don't know. Pit of vipers?
Den of iniquities? Viper pit? Yeah, anyway. So, okay, I did pull up the Megyn Kelly one, but you go ahead with yours first.
Yeah, I can pull this out. What's interesting about Vivek, and one of the reasons I even like him even more, is because it sets off both the neocons and the leftists who are continually down on him. It's weird how they would actually prop up a Haley or a Pence or a Christie. Even on this poll, the New York Times seems to think that Christie actually won. And Vivek, look at this. He's way down at the bottom, even under.
Can you full screen that? I'm trying to see it.
Is that not full screen enough? That's as much as I can. Well, maybe I can click on it, right. But that's about as good.
Oh, that's that. Yeah, that's better.
So Asa Hutchinson and Burgum, it's amazing. But Ramaswamy's all the way at the very bottom. They just put him over a couple of these smaller candidates, and they actually really think Tim Scott beat Ramaswamy. And Tim Scott's a nice guy, but come on, with the way Ramaswamy handles himself up there, he terrifies both sides, and I really like him. I mean, of course, I'm going to go for Trump. But Ramaswamy is a rising star, and yes, he could go up into the den of vipers or pit of vipers, what have you, and absolutely roast everybody just fearlessly, and that is refreshing. I haven't seen anything like that since Trump. So
yeah, and it's a little, you know, it's almost like being the second knuckleball pitcher coming out of your bullpen, though. It's like we already got one of those. You know, it's almost like he's trying to out-Trump Trump, but we have a Trump there. How many Trumps would it take to out-Trump Trump if Trump just wouldn't Trump Trump? I don't know. You get what I'm trying to go for here. But like, yes, he's almost a little too Trump. It's just someone that's seeing if we don't course correct, we have no nation left. We have no life left. This is going to be a hellscape. If we don't stop this sliding down this icy mountain range into a pit of vipers. How about that for a visual? Everything's about vipers today. But remember, we covered on the last show where Vivek was warned by two spooks to get his own private security. Remember that? So, I mean, you know, people are definitely taking note of this guy, as they should, because he's saying a lot of the right things. Do we trust him? I mean, you trust any politician as far as you could throw Christie, or as far as you could lure him away for a nice meal. But that being said, he's sure saying a lot of the right stuff.
Oh, he's phenomenal. I mean, obviously, yes, Trump should have his chance to get back in there and finish the job that he started. But if not, Vivek is right there. I would like to see Vivek as potentially the VP, if that's even possible. An outsider to protect Trump, because one of the problems with Trump is that he had all the awful people around him. There's traitors everywhere. Like, it completely derailed his campaign.
Vipers everywhere, Blake.
Yes, exactly. So constantly on the defensive against the vipers that were trying to take him out, and they eventually did. So I would like to see another fiery outsider that's up there. And that
something that we didn't even discuss. It's not in the stack, but it's big breaking news, and I wanted to mention it. Talk about having bad people around you. Kevin McCarthy announced he's stepping down. He's leaving. I can't be the captain of my basketball team. I can't be captain of the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm retiring from basketball. Yeah. He's leaving his post, and it's widely purported to be one of the tricks that he can use to kind of sink the ship on his way out. He's drilling a hole in the hull. Hole in the Hull. Hole in the hole? That's tough to say. No such thing as a bad Christie joke. All right, that's fair, Dreamer. But, wondering if they're trying to tank the House of Representatives majority, as you saw that they voted to get rid of George Santos?
Yep.
That his name? George Santos, but they didn't get rid of somebody on the Democrat side. They didn't even make it a fair trade. Give me a Democrat, a corruptocrat, and we'll get rid of one of the bad Republicans. No. They're just trying to tank their own team. They want to make sure that when Trump takes over, he doesn't have the ability to do anything. I hate the uniparty so much, Blake. Right. Loathe them so much.
Yeah, I agree. That's why we got an outsider. We were excited to have somebody like Trump go in there, and hope maybe Vivek. So we'll see. He's going to be around for a while. I sure hope. I'm sure he's going to be targeted by the deep state, but he's already in. Might as well keep it up.
You can't be partially pregnant. That's what these two spooks were saying to Vivek that we played on Tuesday's show of the Agree to Disagree show, Tuesday's program rather. They're just saying if you think you're going back to your private life, your normal life after this, you're not. So he's like, you could, and I noticed that up until the very end, Vivek was not his normal self. He was a little bit more restrained. Yes, he was a little aggressive. Yes, he was a little accusatory. Yes, he had his moments, but he was not the same guy after those two spooks spoke with him. That's what I felt the whole night. And then like right at the end, he let it rip with everything. He just kind of let it go. But all right, let's go through all of this. What do we have to say about Christie? Do you want me to play you have Christie up on your screen? Do you want to cover something and then get to the Megyn Kelly part? Do you want me to do Megyn Kelly, then get to something else? Because once we're done with Christie, we'll move on to DeSantis and Nikki Rhonda Hawa Haley, and we can discuss her as well.
Yeah, this was, I guess, a highlight for Christie, or low light, or what have you, because this pretty much, he was booed, and I think it's pretty much ended his campaign right there and then. So, and calling out for Trump to, basically losing his right to vote, he is not well liked. He's only up there to attack Trump, and that's all he could do. So, let's
sure, thank you. I want you all to kind of picture in your minds election day. You'll all be heading to the polls to vote, and that's something that Donald Trump will not be able to do because he will be convicted of felonies before then, and his right to vote will be taken away.
Oh, look at that little smirk on his face when he said that. He was so happy about it, so pleased with himself.
Judas, this clown.
He's just sad that he wasn't able to say it directly to Donald Trump's face.
That's all he's been in this race for. Every time is just to bash Trump. It's like he was hired to play a role. He was picked out of a Hollywood. He went through the screen test. He was hired, and it's like, look, we're going to give you the script, and you're going to read it. We're going to pay you a few $1 million in advance on your book deal. You know how they money launder, how they bribe. What they did with Nikki Haley, who was called out, like, yeah, you were broke when you left the UN. You had a cup of coffee over there. And then all of a sudden you start doing these speaking deals for Boeing. Oh, now you have $8 million in the bank. You're bought and paid for. You're little more than mouthpiece for the military industrial complex. From day one, all Christie's been doing. I'm glad they booed him. They should be booing this guy.
Yeah, it serves no other purpose. It'd be like a hockey goon or a basketball thug. He's just going to go out there to try to foul your star player.
Like Matt Petgrave, the killer hockey player, Matt Petgrave. Say his name, Matt Petgrave.
Right. Well, just some thug who's going to go out and start a fight. He's not trying to win. He's just trying to, get people amped up. So, but yes, that's Chris Christie was exposed. So it was good that he did finally sneak into the debate.
Can you rewind it back 10 seconds? Let's hear that boo one more time. It's sort of satisfying because I was reading Laura Loomer. She was talking about, I saw a tweet. I put it at American_media_ follow us on X. And she was saying that she's at the fourth debate. She, outside, she's talking to someone, and they said, "Yeah, we're Trump supporters. Everybody here's a Trump supporter. We're just, he's not on stage, but we're here to be a part of the show and the circumstance. But like, we're all Trump supporters because he dominates the party, because he is the party, because he was robbed of his last term, and everyone knows it. We've had 3 years of hell because of the puppet that they put in there, that Obama has attached to his puppet strings, George Soros's puppet strings, the World Economic Forum puppet strings, the Ukrainian puppet strings, the Khazarian puppet strings, all of the puppet strings, the Chinese puppet strings. It's like we used to have a president that acted like he was the CEO of this country, and we can see the stark contrast, the very big difference. But yeah, she was just saying, like, the people here, they're all Trump supporters. So it's satisfying to hear them boo Chris Christie.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we go.
I want you all to kind of picture in your minds election day. You'll all be heading to the polls to vote. And that's something that Donald Trump will not be able to do, because he will be convicted of felonies before then, and his right to vote will be taken away. Look, here's the bottom line. You can boo about it all you like and continue to deny reality. But if we deny reality as a party, we're going to have 4 more years of Joe Biden.
I also love when he's like trying to pause for great impact. It gets that classic microphone feedback noise. It's like the international sign of crickets, tumbleweed blows past. I don't know if you picked up on that, but it has like the perfect amount of uncomfortable, awkward feedback from the microphone. And convicted as a felon for what? For what? There's no there. It's a big Van Jones nothing burger. All of it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's good to see this. It's still had its entertaining moments. And Chris Christie just seems to be self-aware that everybody hates him. He was polling at like 7% in New Jersey. They can't stand him. He just, he craves the power, but his only people that back him are, his big donors.
And you're telling me that the GOP thought it was a better idea to put this viper, Chris Christie, that's my word of the day. I'm just going to keep doubling down on it. This viper, Chris Christie, instead on the stage instead of Larry Elder. Are you kidding me? One of the most charismatic speakers of our day. They put this clown up here. Anyway, the rest of this clip.
There's all a purpose, Brian. Why do you think that the GOP is full of vipers too? You think they wanted Trump coming in there and taking over? No, they hate it. So of course they're going to raise Chris Christie. Absolutely. Or they're going to put up, Young, whatever. No, they don't want Larry Elder up there. Yeah, it's bad news. It's controlled, but they were taken over, and now they're trying to take it back. Whether it's Ronnie D or Christie or Nikki Haley. But that's their game plan. But they're just the old guard clinging on. But no, it's their time is done, and they just throw all the money at it that you want, but you're gonna have to get the votes at the end of the day. And Americans are sick of their of their ways and their philosophy. So good to see. And that's Chris Christie still thinks he's a thug and he's going to take over power and somehow going to get find some way to get in there. It's just delusional.
My colleagues here raised their hands and said they would support him even if he was a convicted felon.
That's what they should do too. You should be backing him no matter what. But then to actually just start a fight with everybody, like you're going to have him, he's going to be, Donald Trump's going to be taken out with felonies, and you think you're going to gain their votes? It's just
an innocent man who's been framed by the Uniparty. You're damn right you need to defend him, and that's what Ronnie D screwed up on. From day one, he should have been defending him against these unconstitutional hit jobs It's a political assassination happening in real time. And to giddily just go along with the people who are trying to take him out, what a clown. You know, that's the, what is it, the scorpion and the turtle going across the river.
Frog, yeah.
You know, yeah, the frog, whatever it is. Yeah, I guess the scorpion would hit the turtle shell and it wouldn't even impact the turtle. So yeah, frog makes more sense. But I mean, Ronnie D getting into bed with these people who would frame the best president we've had in our lifetime. It's not even close. Non-unipartyist, you know, at least since Reagan. And by the way, they tried to kill Reagan as well. But to not just full-throatedly back and support him, what a clown. I can't believe he was bribed or blackmailed enough, or he got so enamored with flattery and sniffing his own farts, because Ronnie D started thinking, look at me, I'm the most popular person ever. I just won Florida governor with so many votes. I'm indestructible. It's like, no, clown. People fled New York and they fled California, and Florida's one of the last free states. Do what you're doing and keep doing it. Don't think those inflated numbers are just because you're so great. It ain't. It's because California and New York are that bad. I don't know. I can't believe he threw his entire political career over to take on Trump and try to stab him in the back, Brutus. You too, Brutus? E2? E2, Ronnie? E2.
That gains him a lot of points, yeah, in that circle. But yeah, bad news. I do like what Ron, you know, he's still a viable candidate, even though I don't agree with what he did doing it this year. He did have his.
He's done to me.
I know he's dead to you. You're unforgiving on that stuff. But I mean, see what he's did against Gavin Newsom in that debate, and to see some of the highlights from last night and his showing, his performance out there. Yes, he's still done well. He might be, you know, the distant fourth. And we actually have some really good candidates, you know, between Trump or Vivek, or then maybe RFK Jr. And then, you know, Ronnie D's still there. Even though it wasn't his time, it's ahead of his time. Yes, he shouldn't have done it, but he's there, and he's made it.
No, I don't forget. Let's do this as a fun send off. This is Christie. Perfect. I think we'll be pretty much done talking about this guy after this clip, but this is Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly's not particularly a Trump fan of any sort, having sparred with him, and was clearly given. You know, right off the bat. And that's been my complaint from day one about Fox and about the GOP. They put their debate moderators up there to try to catch their candidates, try to get them flubbing, gotcha moments. You know, that's what Megyn Kelly tried to do with her woman comments, and only Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah, the GOP, they try to take their own party down. I don't understand why they don't get someone like a Tucker, like a Joe Rogan, like somebody, Elon, to have someone moderating that's.
Yeah, why would they? They're the establishment. They control it. They don't want these other third-party candidates. If they could do it themselves, they would just have Vivek not even be there, and he would never even would have mentioned that. They're never going to give that up. If they take them off the network, no, they want their own people. This is their world. That's how they want it to be run. They don't want outsiders threatening their narrative. Yeah, in that perfect world. Yeah, you know what? People seem to really resonate with Joe Rogan. I don't know if I agree with what he says, but we should have him moderate the debate. That'll never happen. Never.
Don't they want ratings?
They want control. They want that big pharma money.
So stupid. Okay, so that being said, let's do our send-off to Christie. Megyn Kelly, who is no particular fan of Trump, although now her, much like so many other people, not to put words in her mouth, because I haven't heard her particularly endorse Trump, but I've definitely heard her comparing and contrasting 3 years of Biden to, you know, what Trump was getting. He got a lot of things right when he was in office. Maybe not a perfect candidate, because nobody is, but I've heard her speaking in maybe not glowing terms, but in appreciative terms, that he got so many things right. But here she is talking to Christie. Benny Johnson puts this out and says, Christie just got dressed up for a debate, only to get his campaign ended by Megyn Kelly in 60 seconds with a single question. Here we go.
Even said that you got into this race.
Well, hold on. Where's the volume? Okay, let's keep the volume up. There we go. Let's try this a second time. Megyn Kelly.
Even said that you got into this race just to stop President Trump. His approval rating with Republicans is currently at 81%.
81% approval.
Your best state is New Hampshire, and even there, 2/3 of GOP voters say they would be angry and disappointed if you won.
2/3.
Respectfully, Governor, you have not stopped Trump, and voters may wonder how you could possibly become the nominee of a party that does not appear to like you very much.
Well, look, Megyn, it's often very difficult to be the only person on the stage who's telling the truth, and the only person who is taking on what needs to be taken on. I look at my watch now.
That is awesome.
And except for your little speech in the beginning,
Dismissive, your little speech in the
we've had these three acting as if the race is between the four of us. The fifth guy, who doesn't have the guts to show up and stand here, he's the one who, as you just put it, is way ahead in the polls.
He doesn't have guts. Give me a break. The one thing Trump does, he's a fighter, and he always punches back twice as hard. Doesn't have guts. Yeah, he's going to get goaded into a buffet eating contest with you. Yeah, Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Come on. Well, you don't have the guts to compete with me in the hot dog eating contest, you jabroni. That question was so good. I just want to play that last part one more time where Megan's like about the party that doesn't even like you. Well, it's thinking about it. It should just play. Or is it going to be difficult?
You might have to refresh.
It's not worth it. You get what I'm saying. I love the part about the party who doesn't even seem to like you. Like, what were your thoughts on Megyn Kelly dressing him down here?
Oh, she can be fantastic when she wants to be. She can be very aggressive. She's very smart. And yeah, she went right after him. Good for her. And that was a great moment. We want to see more of that from the moderators. Not these, wishy-washy, letting them get, run over. So good stuff. And maybe, who knows? Maybe that was even a planned attack. She seems to have gotten a lot more pro-Trump since her departure from Fox and mainstream media. So she's still quite active. And that's what we want to see.
That's not main. That's lying
legacy
media. Yes. Lying legacy media. One more point. This may be a little tangential, and then I'll give you the screen again. But I did have this pulled up when I clicked off of there, and I wanted to get to it. I was talking about Vivek being warned by the two spooks previously, and I just kind of wanted to add this. Is from Brian Cates, political columnist and pundit. What is he talking in reference to? Okay, here you go. Yeah, I guess I'll just read both of these. Talking about not having the guts. He says, what's interesting about this is the fact that the shadow cabal has already tried several times to kill Trump, including that false alarm missile launch at Air Force One, at AF-1 near Hawaii. The manner in which Trump and the people behind him since the 1980s handled these unknown number of assassination attempts is one of the signs that there's a ton of things going on behind the scenes. When do you not go public with an attempt to assassinate a U.S. president? When the people who try to take down Air Force One would be many of the same people tasked through the proper channels to investigate the presidential assassination attempt. You don't gain anything from putting the would-be assassins in charge of holding an investigation or congressional hearings to find themselves. There wouldn't be any point to it. This is in response, I believe, to Sean Davis saying they're terrified Biden can't win, so they're beginning to talk themselves into taking extraordinary action, call it assassination prep, to prevent another Trump presidency. Truly dangerous, deranged insanity from the professional left. So these are some of the meltdowns on regarding a second Trump term from The Atlantic. These are all different headlines. The climate can't afford another Trump presidency. 4 years of unchecked misogyny. How Trump gets away with it. The specter of family separation. Loyalists, lapdogs, and Trump's had his private security team since the mid-1980s. The Secret Service was never in charge of Trump's security. I don't know if this is true or not. I'm curious to find out in the comments if you know if this is true or not, or we could dig a little deeper, but I find it interesting. He claims here that the Secret Service was never in charge of Trump's security when he was president. They were taking orders from Trump's security team, not the other way around. The Secret Service doesn't run Trump's security now either, not at Mar-a-Lago or anywhere else. Hell, Trump's had his very own private intelligence agency working for him since the 1980s. Also, another fact people don't know or understand about him. That agency proved very useful to him during the real estate New York City turf wars and the casino wars in Atlantic City when Trump was helping Giuliani and company take down the mob as their CHS, confidential human sources. There's this idea Trump was a clueless babe in the woods when he entered the White House in 2017, had no idea about how intelligence agencies worked or spycraft, etc. Guy who was employing spooks since Reagan was president didn't have a clue what the federal spooks were up to, or so they claim to you. So that was just an interesting back and forth to the guy that, Christie is going to say is gutless and, doesn't have guts. I just find it absolutely absurd, Blake, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to sit and protect the establishment and go along with them like Chris Christie does, and it's a lot more difficult to actually be a populist and to go against the establishment, because that really puts you in danger. So, which he wouldn't know. So he is a coward, absolutely. So I'd like to see him go up there and say the kinds of things that Vivek or Trump has. He won't. He knows what he's doing, and that's why he's a terrible candidate, because he is not representing the people. He only cares about himself and his own interests, and going along with whatever the talking points are from his little deep state handlers. So, speaking of that, well, we got a lot to go on here. Vivek Ramaswamy quadruples down on the fiery attacks at the fourth GOP debate and calling Haley a fascist, which was also good. And she's even worse. I love the when he was taking his notes and pulled that out and taking some shots at her that were well-deserved, since she wants to basically have all social media users verified by their name. So that
you're talking about the lady who wants everybody to be verified by their real name is Nimarata Nikki Rhonda Hawa Haley, the one that doesn't go by her real name?
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. So that
By the way, how long before we start seeing memes of Vivek holding up that sign with it being photoshopped saying different stuff?
Oh, it's already been done. I don't know where you've been, Brian, but you have to go on Twitter X, and there's all kinds of stuff on that already. That's an easy Photoshop. So,
by the way, Keith Piper on Facebook, we have a group here on Facebook, TNAM Fake News, Debunking Conspiracy Theories and Propaganda, posted a little bit about Vivek, and he says, I really want to like him, but I have a bad feeling he is a plant. Too many ties to the World Economic Forum, Soros, and Ivy League schools. I really want to be proven wrong.
Yeah, hasn't a lot of that stuff been debunked already? He's already been taking a lot of shots for that. I don't know if he's directly tied into World Economic Forum. Yeah, there's some shady things going on. I think he's addressed a lot of that stuff, and people keep repeating it, but I don't know if that's continues to be accurate anymore. And if he really was that bad, then why is he taking such massive shots at both parties and putting himself in danger? And yeah, having a couple of spooks come out and say, hey, you're in danger here for what you've done, and you're never going to go back to normal life after that. So he's put himself in great risk. That. Yeah, no, I'm not even going after him. It's a lot of people that continue to use those same talking points. So I think he's done a good job at addressing that. I'll take another look at it, but it's hard for me to think that he would be going after the establishment so hard if he was just some ruse and he's some just actor. So I think it's time to give Vivek his due.
Brother, don't you know that this is just controlled opposition? It's the reason why they let Alex Jones say so many of those things. And so he can be a magnet to attract all the crazies to him, and then he signs you up on a mailing list and gets your email address and your home address. And then you can get added to a government list. Don't you know that?
No, they got you too. Man. I don't know anymore at this point who's controlled opposition and who's not. So
I assume everybody is.
Yeah, one of the things, with Alex Jones, we want to talk about controlled opposition. Yes, he's getting all this love for predicting 9/11, but so did I already forgot his name. Bill Cooper.
David Icke?
No, Bill Cooper predicted 9/11 before Alex Jones. Bill Cooper got killed. So, people think that, Glenn Beck, or even hear from Alex Jones, Glenn Beck is like the twisted mainstream version of Alex Jones. But you could also say that Alex Jones is the, twisted, more mainstream, version of Bill Cooper, who was kind of the OG, calling these things out and paid the ultimate price for it.
Didn't Bill Cooper's dog and family get it too?
I don't remember exactly, but I know he was raided there in Arizona. And he was very vocal about 9/11, called it out right from the very beginning. And so he's getting ignored in this whole process. And then Alex Jones is getting all the credit for it, which is still great. Look, Alex Jones did a great job.
And by the way,
there were some shady things that said he was a controlled opposition, or the Y2K. Bill Cooper hated Alex Jones. So he might have just stolen his whole shtick. And then he's like working with, Steve Pachenik, who's, doing his handling, or what have you. Alex Jones has done a tremendous amount of good. I'm not taking anything away from him, but there are some things that are very shady about him, and he's got his own issues as well. Heroic to some, he should be, but there's some questions out there as well. And I'd like to see him give some love to Bill Cooper. I didn't see the interview yet. I don't know if it's aired already, but he was on there with Tucker Carlson. So I would love Alex Jones to say, praise Bill Cooper as also one of the OGs who was very vocal in the 90s before Alex Jones. But Alex did some great stuff on, cable access and all kinds of things as well. So we do like everybody, but
Yeah, later today, I believe Alex is Tucker Carlson is gonna drop his 2-hour-long interview with Alex Jones, which will be interesting. And also, if you haven't played his video game, you need to play his video game. It is awesome. Blake, did you play it? Did I give you the login? Did you buy it? I don't remember.
I did have it. I did look at it. I know it was like $17.76. I haven't paid for it. I don't know if I need a controller for it or if I can just use my.
No, it's on your cell phone. Your cell phone is the controller.
On my cell phone. I'd rather play on my computer. But is it that fun on the cell phone?
Bro, I played 2 levels and I was laughing my ass. And it plays a lot like Contra. It's pretty fun, and there's a lot of jokes worked in there. Things that he says, things that are happening, the bad guys.
Yeah, it looks great.
It's scenes.
Yeah.
So it's worth checking out. My buddy sent me the link. Actually, thank you for reminding myself because
Brian, did you actually shell out your own money on that?
No. I got to log in for it. Just like I didn't pay to watch Lady Ballers, but I watched Lady Ballers, and I recommend that you guys watch Lady Ballers, because it's important culturally. But anyway, okay, what else do we have to say about the debates, Blake? I know we got you for a little bit more time, and we got a lot to get
we're
into.
running out the clock. I've only got 20 minutes left. Yes, there's a lot to get to. I don't know if we have some of the other highlights here. Let's see if I can find one. Obviously, we're going to have to cut some of these things. But why don't we get to one of these defining moments of maybe ending neoconservatism, perhaps, as Vivek calls out Nikki Haley and Christie, as neocons, not even knowing anything about Ukraine, but they're happy to send your kids to go die in a war out there. So let's check this one out.
Megan, I think there's a time and place for everything. We need somebody in the White House who absolutely is going to be a fighter when it counts. And I did say that there were some good people on that stage in that third debate. Doug Burgum was on that stage at that time. And I'll say that jokingly. Ron DeSantis is a good person, too. I want to go back, though, to Nikki Haley's comment from earlier. That
pause. I like how he did that.
The will of these donors.
Okay.
I like how he slighted Christie and Haley. Burgum was up on stage. Okay, you too, Ronnie. He definitely threw shade at the other two. He does not think they're good people. That was You caught that, right?
Yeah, they're
that
not good people. They're absolutely bought and paid for establishment candidates. And we all know it. And he's the actual one with the balls to go up there and do it and say it and admit it and call him out. And the last debate, calling up the GOP chair lady to come out and resign on stage. That was glorious stuff. Calling out the mainstream media right to their face for pushing the Russia hoax. I really like Vivek. So if somebody wants to show me some irrefutable proof that he is bought and paid for, I'd be happy to hear it. I just want the truth, the whole truth. But no, this is a rising star. And if Trump can't run for whatever reason, this guy needs to be there. I do like Ronnie D. I do like RFK Jr., but Vivek is a star, a rising star who is absolutely fearless going up against him.
And by the way, that is a good point, Blake. You know, mentioning some of the other people, I think it's high time that President Trump, now that this is over, we titled this show, Finally, the Final GOP Debate. Finally, the final GOP debate for a reason. But I think it's high time that President Trump picks his vice president. He picks his secretary of defense, his secretary of this, his secretary of that. You know what? Throw some czars in there just to laugh at the people with the dictatorship question. He's going to be a dictator. You mean you're going to be held accountable for your treason? Yeah, Lord willing, hope so. You've dug your own holes, and nobody did that for you. It was treason what they did to frame President Trump. And if he comes and with his Justice Department actually is able to go after the bad people, oh my Lord, we're begging for this. The criminal element that's been driving our country into a ditch full of vipers for too many decades. I mean, it's high time that we do that. But I think it would be super important to start putting that team together. Like you said, President Trump's an older man. Vivek is many decades younger. Okay, that's fine. That's two people. Tucker, I don't know who's going to be VP. But like, wouldn't it be nice, the Christies, Nikki Haley's that have turned their back and stabbed Trump in the back? I think Ronnie D's out too. He did that to himself. But whoever the coalition is, start building it. Start naming them and say, this is my team. Let's go. We're gonna sweep out all of the nonsense. I would love to see that happen immediately, because we want to know who's on the bench. This isn't the bench. I don't know what bench this is, but it's not for the people. This is a bench. Vivek has been impressive. He said a lot of the right things. Absolutely. But let's let him continue. I'll shut up.
Okay, here we go.
Nikki, you were bankrupt when you left the UN. After you left the UN, you became a military contractor. You actually started joining service on the board of Boeing, whose back you scratched for a very long time, and then gave foreign multinational speeches like Hillary Clinton is, and now you're a multimillionaire. That math does not add up. It adds up to the fact that you are corrupt. And when I said they were bought and paid for, I meant the Republican establishment, not the Democratic establishment. Now you have Reid Hoffman, the person who's effectively George Soros Jr., funding lawsuits across this country against Donald Trump to keep him off the ballot, funding left-wing causes. We discovered this week that he is one of Nikki Haley's largest supporters. Larry Fink, the king of the woke industrial complex, the ESG movement, the CEO of BlackRock, the most powerful company in the world, now supporting Nikki Haley. And to say that doesn't affect her is false, because it's after that meeting later that day that she says that every American needs to be doxxed by having their ID, their government-issued ID, tied to what they say on the internet. So I think that this is far more corrupt than I even imagined when I entered politics. But I will say this. It is going to take a leader from the outside, with fresh legs, from the next generation to unite this country. Not the broken politicians who are puppets of the puppet masters, but the actual people in this country. Thomas Jefferson was 33 when he wrote the Declaration of Independence. I think it's going to take somebody whose best days in life are still ahead to see a country whose best days are ahead of itself. And I think I can reach that next generation better than anybody else in this race.
Thank you.
Yeah, and to which I would agree. So he is the right guy. I feel bad for Trump that he's already, in his 80s, and he's going to have to run another 4 years. He basically had this 4 years taken from him. and he deserves to get his shot to retaliate. And then I think once that's done, then maybe he could, hand things over to a guy like Vivek. I would like to see that. And I'd like to see, Trump just get to be able to, retire and walk away from all this stuff and enjoy his time rather than having to, jump into another 4 full years of dealing with this DC shit show. But let's run a couple more clips here. If I can pull this up. Well, one of the funny things is Haley. What's that?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Well, I do want to run this highlight when he calls out about the Ukraine and the hypocrisy and these warmongers.
So foreign policy experience is not the same as foreign policy wisdom. I want everybody at home to note that I was the first person to say we need a reasonable peace deal in Ukraine. Now a lot of the neocons are quietly coming along to that position, with the exceptions of Nikki Haley and Joe Biden, who still support this, what I believe is pointless war in Ukraine. And I think those with foreign policy experience, one thing that Joe Biden and Nikki Haley have in common is that neither of them could even state for you 3 provinces in eastern Ukraine that they want to send our troops to actually fight for. Look at that. This is what I want people to understand. These people have, she has no idea what the hell the names of those provinces are, but she wants to send our sons and daughters and our troops and our military equipment to go fight it. So reject this myth that they've been selling you, that somebody had a cup of coffee stint at the UN and then makes $8 million after. It takes matters.
Hold on.
So that is just awesome. I love to see that. America needs to see that, and we have to get rid of these neocon, clowns that don't know anything. They're just completely bought and paid for by these military-industrial complex, deep state goons, and they are going to send our sons and daughters over to die in foreign wars, act like they're experts, and they have no idea. They couldn't even name where they're actually going, whether that's Donbass or Crimea. She did name a few of them. Donetsk, there's a few. But anyway, that's important. So it's like, who are they? Do they even really know what's going on? They're going to be the president of the United States. They should have been able to know that. She did mention that, but I think she was off on one. But good to catch them off on that. And same with Christie, although that clip cuts off here. But interesting.
Yeah, I think the final part of that clip got pretty garbled. I don't know if my CPU was processing, but I think the end of that clip was pretty.
Yeah, they don't want people seeing stuff like that. So. But they have right to know. It's going way back to Eisenhower. That is the dangers of the military-industrial complex, and you have to watch these candidates who, as Vivek rightly points out, are bought and paid for. So, anyway, that's good to know. And the Babylon Bee did a great job of calling out the absurdity of Nikki Haley stumped when the debate moderator asked her to list some countries she wouldn't invade. Because, yes, who is she representing? Does she formulate her own opinions, and or is she just doing her talking points because she's loves the power, but she's really just going to be a puppet and a useful idiot for the establishment? Anyway, some other highlights from Vivek is calling out the conspiracies at the end. Saying the deep state is the problem and we need to speak truth to power, that January 6th was an inside job and the government lied about Saudi involvement in 9/11. The Great Replacement theory is not a conspiracy theory. 2020 election was stolen by big tech. Calling out the puppet master donors in Nikki's crowd that would boo him. So, there was some great highlights on this. And also afterwards, when he got called out by a CNN lackey, this is Dana Bash, when she's talking about what the inside job, and so Vivek is saying, if you told me nearly 3 years ago when I was a CEO that January 6th was an inside job, I would have said that's crazy, but it's not. So, I mean, also got to give credit because, yes, he's changed a lot of his opinions over the last few years, like where he was more of a Democrat, woke. But he's able to, because I can sit here and complain like a lot of people aren't, maybe smart enough to see through this stuff or even understand what's going on. And then it takes also another special. You can be intelligent, but you have to be willing to change your opinion when you see a set of facts. Information whether things are actually true, but reality also he does. So he's also yes, countless FBI motive.
We're having a little bit of problem with Blake's signal, and he just dropped out. But yeah, I mean, okay, I think he's back.
I don't know what's going on. I was off screen ranting, and I guess
your signal went into the yellow. I think it was your signal that's been getting a little choppy. But you're back now. You're back now. Continue.
So, yeah, I don't know where I left off, but oh man, it's always one thing or another. But anyway, yes, Vivek calling out the establishment even after the fact, and calling out the CNN hack who was trying to call him out. But that they were manufacturing an insurrection, and yes, the mainstream media is also as bad, and they are working hand in hand with all of these stooges on the stage.
So you would agree that J6 was an inside job?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot more to it than they're letting on. They've withheld all the evidence, and there was clearly something going on, plotting within. They wanted to stage this all as an insurrection and use it to go after Trump and his loyalists.
And they said Liz Cheney and Nancy Pelosi deleted all of the information that they gathered, and that's illegal, right?
Yeah, supposedly they've deleted some of the evidence or something from the committee, so that all has to be investigated because that should be some high crimes. Absolutely. So withholding evidence and then tampering and then deleting it. So it's crazy.
Okay. Well, let's rock through the last couple of things we have here. I know we only get to borrow you for a little bit more, and then you're off to bigger and better things. Blake, agree or disagree? Does RFK? Do we have anything else to add on Vivek? You kind of read his last thing instead of letting him say.
Yeah, I just don't have time. I've only have another 5 minutes left, and I got to run, unfortunately.
All right. Agree or disagree that RFK's association with Epstein has disqualified him from the campaign?
No, not necessarily. He was called out. He did have to address it, and it was awkward. And sometimes there are things that are, questionable coming out of RFK. Some of his loyalties, and perhaps he could be compromised at some level because that was a big honey trap run by. It's like an Israeli Mossad operation with their guy Epstein and Maxwell trying to get very powerful
and
people
the CIA.
compromised. Blackmail them. Sure, CIA.
The alphabet agencies. Yeah.
Along with Mossad and Israel, who were
much Mossad, Israel, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's such an obvious thing that they were doing. Get some blackmail on them, then you have somebody for life. Who was it that asked him the question? I watched it, and I can't remember who it was. But they knew the answer. They knew that the answer was yes. Was it Jesse Kelly? Who was it? Jesse Waters, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Here's the clip here. So his ex-wife, and here's one of the other crazy things, that his ex-wife apparently had some sort of relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell, and I guess she committed suicide, which is crazy. RFK Jr.'s ex-wife, Mary Richardson Kennedy, committed suicide in New York in 2012.
Whoa.
Kennedy urged that all this was before anybody knew about Epstein's, nefarious issues. But he agrees that all the information should be released. We should get real answers on what happened to Jeffrey and any of the high-level political people that he was involved with. Of course, to this day, they still have not released any of the names on the client list.
And by the way, whether it's John McAfee or Chester Bennington or Anthony Bourdain or Robin, anybody, I'm not saying suicide doesn't happen, because it does, but Marilyn Monroe, was that actually a suicide? Was that an overdose, or was she taken out? So anytime you hear a suicide, an air quote suicide, I'd say there's got to be at least a 10%, if not more, question mark. Is that really what happened, or were they set up for that? I don't know enough about this, but that is interesting. What RFK Jr. said, do you want me to pull that up on the screen there? Double tap. He said that he was on the plane, and was he stuttering and stammering his way through it, right? It didn't come off well, because he's got that speech impediment too, but I feel like his speech impediment gets worse the more guilty he feels.
I think it's an impediment. He's got like a physical ailment. Yeah,
but that's an impediment to speaking correctly. Okay. It's impeding him.
Not like a list
I'm not saying it derogatorily. I'm just saying like he has an issue with his speech. He's had surgeries and procedures done, and I felt like this is the worst he's sounded. Almost as if he starts stuttering and stammering, almost like it kicked back, it reverted back to like a more damaged version of how he used to sound. Because for a little bit there, he was sounding pretty good again. I'm like, oh, I've never heard him sound this good. It was almost inaudible trying to listen to him give a speech. It was not nails on a chalkboard, but it's just kind of like how like it just kind of, I don't know.
Anyway, so he seems to be fading a little bit in the presidential race, and yes, he's been taking some criticism lately, and that's one of the things with Epstein, or maybe his being a little too pro-Israel for some, as well as for an independent candidate anyway, for a non-establishment guy. So there's a few cracks, but I still think he's an interesting guy, and deserves to be in that, in the presidential run. Get rid of Haley, get rid of Christie, get rid of Biden, no to Newsom. But I think there's still 4 candidates, and he's one of them.
Well, I will add this. The way that he said it, there were a lot of ums and uhs, and very like Barack Obama off script. Right. Really clownish audit.
Well, there could be something going on with his ex-wife. I don't know if she was associated.
I didn't even hear the ex-wife brought up in the clip that I heard.
Yeah, he could be compromised.
You mentioned it, but in the clip I heard, it was just, were you ever on that plane? It was a lot of it sounded like he was guilty, but what he was saying was, yeah, I took a flight from here to there, and I went from here to there. I was on the plane, but the plane is a chartered plane. Like, I never went to the island, and yeah, we should release the information. What he said was, it sounded fine to me. How he said it, it's like the Nixon JFK debates. Nixon was sweaty and sick. He looked like shit, but the people listening on the radio, they thought Nixon crushed that debate. The people watching, they thought that JFK won it. So what RFK was saying there, I had no problem with per se, if it's true. But the way that it came out just sounded, I don't know. I'm trying to make sense of it all.
All right.
But,
well, okay.
So you're saying he's not disqualified.
I got to go. Let's move topics here, Brian. I know you don't want to talk about Israel, so I don't know if I'm going to have to skip it. You've successfully.
No, I do want to talk about Israel today.
Okay. Well, this is.
No, I do want to.
All right. Well, I've got about literally 1 minute here.
Bitcoin.
This is
you want to do Israel instead?
Oh my God! All right,
pick the topic.
This is a bombshell story I would love to be able to talk about if I had any time, but I don't have any time. Israel saw warnings of the Hamas attack the day before October 7th, chose not to alert the Nova Festival, which is a huge bombshell, and this is coming from Israeli media. I know Fox News. And yes, the compromised neoconservative Republican GOP media in the United States is the most loyal to Israel you could anywhere on the planet. But for around the rest of the world, they're not seen in the same light. And even from Haaretz, From Within, which is the largest paper in Tel Aviv in Israel, the oldest establishment, is even saying that there was intelligence warnings about the Hamas attack. The army did not evacuate the Nova Festival. So top defense officials held urgent consultations the night before October 7th about a potential Hamas attack. But no one in the IDF notified the Nova Festival organizers or the partygoers, hundreds of whom were mown down, and for 9 hours, no one came to save them. So that is absolutely bombshell. Meanwhile, they are absolutely destroying Gaza, carpet bombing the shit out of them. The official story of October 7th, thousands of evil Hamas, or hummus, as Brian says, terrorists broke out of their walled enclave and killed approximately 1,200 Israelis for no reason other than because they're just evil and wanted to kill Jews. Nothing was done by the Israeli government to provoke the attack, and nothing of any relevance happened prior to this date. The attack was as undefended as could possibly be, and the Israeli forces did not respond for 9 hours, despite having received ample warning that an attack was coming for months from both their own intelligence services and from Egyptian intelligence, and probably the U.S. But no attempt was made to warn the Nova Music Festival of an impending attack, despite the forces being aware the day before, resulting in hundreds of deaths and captured hostages. So little resistance that Hamas themselves were reportedly surprised by how many Israelis they were able to capture and kill. So it's just crazy. And there's so many people that were mowed down by friendly fire because they were just indiscriminately with helicopters or tanks firing into that crowd. So, and then of course they're putting out these weird narratives about beheaded babies, babies cooked in ovens, babies ripped out of wombs of pregnant mothers. There's also just mass rapes everywhere of the festival goers. And if you disagree with that or question any of those narratives, you are an evil Jew hater. And so now they've got over 16,000 Palestinians have been killed and 7,000 children. And there's more and more. It's just absolutely insane. I won't get into all of this because I don't have time. But this whole narrative, they need to do a ceasefire immediately and run a full investigation on all of this stuff and find out what exactly happened before any more innocent people have to die. So anyway, I think that's about all I've got on that. Brian, I don't know if I'm going to get to the Riley Gaines or the Bitcoin thing because, it was funny to see Jamie Dimon saying that if he was the government, that he would close down Bitcoin because that's a use case for its criminals, drug traffickers, money laundering, and tax avoidance. But it actually got the community notes, which is pretty hilarious, that only less than 1% of the trillions transacted in crypto are actually illicit. And this guy is a billionaire who has enriched himself off of the fraudulent fiat money system.
As if fiat money isn't used for crime. What a bunch of goons.
Absolutely. But anyway, that's all I've got for today, Brian, because I have to go, unfortunately. I'd like to flesh some of these out, and hopefully we might have to actually reschedule this show an hour earlier because I keep getting summoned into other responsibilities earlier, but we'll figure that out, and Brian might have to switch his schedule soon again anyway. I'd like to just find an actual show time that we could stick to and not have to cut early out constantly. That we could not have to move around and get fixed for a while, but we shall see. We'll take it day by day, but otherwise it's been delightful. Thank you very much, everybody. It was a pleasure. Thanks, Brian, and we'll catch you guys next time. All right, take care. Peace out.
Oh yeah, Blake and I are doing an interview today at 8:15 as well. Right, Blake? Oh wait, you left. You left? You sort of left? Wait, there he is. Right, we're doing an interview at 8:15.
Yeah,
we'll
I was trying to back out so I can send you the other links for the other topics that we didn't get to in case you want to cover those. But yes, there is a show tonight, Brian, assuming my Zoom link works. But yeah, you'll have to talk about that because it's on Truth Social. So yeah, let everybody know and we'll be back.
All right,
take care.
Thank you, everybody. See you, Blake. Follow Blake. He's at TV's Blake Walley and thenextlevelnews.com. I want to play you this. Man, I did no stingers today. Hey, let's do a stinger. Stingers make me happy. I did one stinger. I'll do a second one. Alrighty. You can pull up this next screen. This is a good topic. It's the weirdest damn thing. It's so weird that this is something we have to keep debating, that water is wet. I mean, we're talking about Riley Gaines. I mean, this is a lady in the water. So I guess that is an apt analogy, I suppose. I believe I'm sharing the screen. Everything is kind of in a little bit here. Thinking. There we go. Gateway Pundit and all their wacky little ads here. Riley Gaines flips the tables on far left squad Democrat after being accused of transphobic bigotry. Defeated leftist then stops the hearing in anger. This lady. Who is this lady? She's cool. She's from Kentucky. She's cool. One of most radical. I don't even know who this lady is. Summer Lee? She's awful. She's from Pennsylvania. One of Congress's most radical Democrats made a poor decision by taking on former champion, collegiate swimmer, and women's rights advocate Riley Gaines during a hearing Tuesday. Instead of reading it, let me just play it. Hopefully this will for you. C-SPAN 3. We're on to C-SPAN 3 now. I can't turn the volume up, so let me just give this a shot.
Such as teamwork and goal setting. Of mental health, studies show that participating in youth sports associated with lower rates of anxiety and depression.
So this lady's bloviating, by the way, about men who dress as women competing against women, touting all of the benefits of sports. Yeah, they can play sports with the men. Go play sport. Nobody is keeping these people away from the sports, the realm of sports. For the rink, nobody's keeping them from the rink or the field or the court. Go play. Go play with the team that you're on. You're not on another team just because you say so. It's men and women. If you're a man, you play with the men. That's it. But she's kind of touting all of the benefits of sports.
Such as and goal setting. In terms of mental health, studies show that participating in youth associated with lower rates of anxiety and depression.
Mental health. This is a mental health issue, and there should be counseling available for people that need it. You are what you are. And if you want to kind of live and present yourself a particular way, I mean, go ahead, do your thing. But that doesn't mean that you are that thing. You can dress up as a unicorn. It doesn't make you a unicorn. You can say you're a woman, but it doesn't make you so. I do have, maybe that's in another screen. Yeah, I do have it open in another screen. The Lady Ballers. That was the Daily Wire's movie that came out. I did enjoy it. And it's it's about 5 guys who decide to compete to win a prize by pretending they're ladies. This lady, sorry, I just jumped in there for a moment. Here she goes. All right, there we go. Summer Lee.
More amounts of stress, higher esteem and confidence.
Women must stop. Inclusion be prioritized over safety. Ranking Member Lee, if my testimony makes me true, then I believe your open monologue makes you a misogynist. Thank you.
I now recognize Ms. Perry for her opening statements.
Good afternoon, Chairman McLean, Ranking Member Lee, and distinguished member of the subcommittee. My name is Sarah Parshall Perry. I am a senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation. As a former varsity athlete, the mother of a girls varsity athlete, and former senior counsel for civil rights at the Department of Education, I have, as the saying goes...
Madam Chair, excuse me, I move to have the gentleman's words taken down.
She moves to have a gentlewoman's words taken down. Because this Lee called Riley Gaines transphobic. They're phobics that they love to use so often. not scared of someone who identifies how they identify, but they can't compete against you and pretend that that's an even playing field, because it's not. So she said, if that makes me transphobic, your comments make you misogynistic because you're against women. That was a great line. I saw her in an interview, Riley Gaines, this morning, and she said she ad-libbed that line, but it's a good line. She's probably said it before, but it's appropriate. Then Miss Lee's like, I want those words taken down.
Excuse me, I move to have the gentlewoman's words taken down.
Words taken down? What?
The committee will suspend.
Silence. A lot of people looking around. People eyes looking, and things are on mute.
Madam Chair, she's engaging personalities.
So this Lee is trying to clarify why the word should be taken out. And Lee says, Riley Gaines is engaging personalities. Maybe that's something that you're not supposed to get involved with personal attacks or something. So she's engaging in personalities. Take what she said down.
Can I just ask how it's fair to be called transphobic?
There's a
thing.
I would say men disguising themselves as women are engaging in personalities.
Order.
hang on. Order. Let's
that might be one of the moments of the year, because this is gone way too far. You started impeaching Trump in 2017 as soon as he came in. It's like, okay, this is ridiculous. Whatever. They're going to keep trying to impeach over a P-tape, a fake Russian propaganda thing paid for by Fusion GPS, Perkins Coie, Hillary Clinton, and the Democratic Committee. This is all garbage. There's no there, but they actually went through it and they kept going. They distracted our nation for 3 years until COVID did what it did to distract the nation. You know, you entertain a certain level of this stuff, and then you're like, okay, this has gone way too far. So this interaction here was just incredible. Trying to strike it from the record. Just to replay it, Lee is kind of clarifying, why do you want this stricken? She says, right here, to explain herself.
Madam Chair, she's engaging in personalities.
She's engaging in personality.
Can I just ask how it's fair to be called transphobic?
Thing.
I would say men disguising themselves as women are engaging in personalities.
order. Let's get a ruling. The chair.
Ocasio-Cortez trying not to laugh, shaking her head lightly. Engaging in personalities. I mean, they're in full panic mode. Things are on mute. They're telling her, "Yeah, we can't do that." And she reluctantly nods her head. Miss Lee, okay. The crew behind her assembles it. That now they're leaving. Wait, now they lean back in. She's
I move to withdraw the point of order.
Now she moves to withdraw the point of order.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. I now recognize.
And the people in the back, you got one lady laughing, smirking, one lady laughing. One guy looks like Billy Corgan. A couple people watching on, but I mean, that was one of the more interesting exchanges you're ever going to see in a congressional
Ms. Perry
hearing.
for her opening statement. We can start over. Thank you.
So then she continues. Watch Lady Ballers. It's on Daily Wire. It's interesting. It's worth watching. Here it is. If there is a lady that wants to play in men's sports, I wouldn't advise it. And if they so insisted and were even able, probably required to sign a waiver, because men are, bone density is different. Muscles are different. Strength, speed. Just men and women are very different. If a lady wants to play in a men's league and insists upon it and signs the waiver, of liability, saying this is probably not recommended. We don't want to see any lady get hurt playing against bigger, stronger, tougher men. By the way, this is not just one super strong woman against one skinny, unathletic man. We're just saying in general, women should be able to compete against men if they sign the waiver. If you have the talent to play football, be it a kicker or a quarterback, and you want to take the hits and you want to play the game, you know, it's sort of more power to you. Cool, right? But there is no circumstance where a man should be able to Wow, look at that. They do not like this topic. Why like this topic? Here. Are we back now? They do not like this topic. Wow. How we wrote this immersive. Trying to. Maybe we'll pause it right here. Wow. I think we're back. We may be back. Maybe the biggest glitch we've ever suffered trying to do this. Okay. Maybe we're back. Goodness.
We may be back. Maybe
yeah, my whole screen is.
Suffered trying to do this.
I'll give it another moment. See if there's a way to bring it back here. I can't get to the. Yeah, the page is unresponsive.
Wow. I think we're back. Okay. Yeah, the page is unresponsive.
I'm trying to bring up another page. It appears as though I'm everybody, though. Anyway, this is from Riley Gaines. Mary Margaret Olahan says, since taking the stance that I've taken, my address has been leaked. I've had people showing up at my doorstep, drones flying above my house. Can't even tell you the amount of death threats that I've had since I have rendered the FBI getting involved. It's real. The vitriol I faced. I've been held ransom for over 4 hours. I've been hit. I've been spit on. I've had bottles thrown at me. This is because a lady wants to compete against ladies. Tell me why everybody isn't defending her and defending common sense. It's just really sad. Why aren't women down here, Coach Joyce? The one thing I question is why aren't we as women sticking together? It will only stop when we as a solid group come together and say enough is enough. Do you want to watch your daughter work her ass off all her life training only to lose her chances to a, well, they say a natural birth male. Just call them male. Like changing these words that's how they get you. Jersey Wright saying this is what guts and bravery look like. This is a true hero and a true champion for women, actual women. Yeah, don't say actual women. Just, it's just women. Yeah, Riley Gaines should be Time Magazine's Person of the Year. By the way, I'm already against whoever Taylor Swift is going to endorse for president. I pretty much know it's going to be whatever Democrat is trotted out there. But I digress. Yeah, as far as other topics, maybe I could do this. We'll round it out here. Try to share this. Give it one more try. Share the screen. And walk you through a few of the stories. On the profile, there's so many things happening. It really is hard to keep up. So follow us at American_media_. Yeah, it's like you're not trying to eradicate people. Oh, that was the story I was going to. I just don't even have it pulled up. But it was the Ivy League college professors who would not condemn calls for genocide on their campuses. Some of them even smirking and laughing as they try to do their double talk, their double speak out of it. That's what intifada, that's what from the river to the sea means. You shake it off like fleas, an infestation. What do? You call it an exterminator. Intifada is murder and death and attacks, and it's happening at the college campuses, and they're just letting them get away with it. I was hoping that we had a little bit more time because I was curious to play these 3 minutes of interviews with these three ladies at the 3 Ivy League schools. But unless as I scroll, I'm able to find it, I don't think I can. So Scott Adams says you can't act more guilty than this. This is from Town Hall. This is apparently President Biden speaking today because it's all breaking. It's all coming out about him. Reoccurring payments from Hunter. Hunter's been set to testify. It's all
President Biden on Ukraine and also China. There's polling by the Associated Press that shows that almost 70% of Americans, including 40% of Democrats, believe that you acted either illegally or unethically in regards to your family's business interests. Can you explain to the Americans, amid this impeachment inquiry, why you interacted with so many of your son and brother's foreign business associates?
I'm not going to comment on that. I did not, and it's just a bunch of lies.
Didn't interact with
They're lies. I did not. There's lies.
President Biden on Ukraine.
Sure seems guilty. And I think we're going to see it. Okay, this is the New American Media streaming our show. That's so meta. Ian Miles Chong, why are advertisers still on Facebook and Instagram, but have such a massive problem with X? Which bans such content? Elon says, yeah, why do their chief marketing officers endorse child trafficking? Let's ask them. Facebook and Instagram, you got some explaining to do. Looking around through our Twitter feed. Yeah, this was Colin Ruggs reporting that Melania may be to be Donald Trump's VP pick in 2024. This is according to Axios. Okay, that's where this is coming from. Well, we'll see. This is the New York Times article, We Can Replace Them. Let's pull this up real quick so you can see. Let's see if it takes you to this page. It says, in Georgia, a chance to rebuke white nationalism. Look at that. Oh, there's Stacey Abrams, Center, leading a voting march with the musician Common. Oh, is it going to lock me out? Well, it's a New York Times article about replacing the residents. Oh, I guess they're all linked to it. And this was about Vivek Ramaswamy talking about the replacement theory. It's not a theory. It is their strategy. It's the replacement strategy. And this is from the New York Times in their own words. This is from Mayorkas and Biden in their own words. It is a replacement strategy. What else here? Yeah, this is a topic I wanted to get into. This is from David Knight. Will the IRS tax you on your home's appreciated value? A case before the Supreme Court now may redefine income once again. Income did not initially include wages. Then they changed the definition. Now they want to tax you on unrealized gain assets that have gone up in value even though you did not sell or withdraw any money. It could be a precedent with devastating if why Biden wants an IRS army and the GOP is going along with it. This is madness. We got to really pay attention to this one. Yeah, you'll get taxed on unrealized gains that are hypothetical, theoretical. But then if things go down in value, do you get a refund? Do you get your money back? Enough of this. Enough of this. You have got to push back on this. Peter Schiff says, when the 16th Amendment was ratified, if anyone thought for 1 second that unrealized gains in any asset could be taxed as income, there is not a single state that would have voted in favor of it. Government will abuse any power it has. Never let the camel's nose under the tent. And this is Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th, the day that will live in infamy. And this is a shock report. This is from Chuck Colesto, something to consider. Chinese Pearl Harbor-style attack may end America's days as a superpower. According to a top expert, China believes that to successfully invade Taiwan, it must strike America with a sudden, intense attack akin to the Pearl Harbor assault. As America remembers the 82nd anniversary of Imperial Japan's devastating attack on Pearl Harbor, the U.S. military is once again confronting a formidable threat from Asia. There is substantial evidence suggesting that in the event of a conflict with the United States, China might adopt a strategy reminiscent of Japan's, aiming for a swift, decisive victory. China's approach would likely involve a modernized tactic, a sudden, overwhelming assault capable of incapacitating most U.S. military assets in the Indo-Pacific within hours, potentially marking a significant shift in global power dynamics. Regrettably, despite awareness of this potential threat, the Biden administration has made little progress in countering it. To understand this better, a look at the past is necessary. In the 1900s, China began focusing on counteracting U.S. military influence in Asia. At the time, Beijing acknowledged its incapacity to effectively target or neutralize U.S. bases in Asia, or the powerful warships safeguarding crucial maritime routes and trade across the Pacific. This shortcoming became more apparent during the Taiwan Strait crisis of the mid-90s. China's leaders realized their inability to even pinpoint U.S. aircraft carriers near Taiwan, primarily due to technological limitations. This has considerably changed. Red alert. Something to consider. And you might also want to have a plan if the power goes out. And whatever plan you have, try to make it better this week. This report from Charlie Kirk, or a commentary rather, he says the Mueller team, quote, accidentally erased all of the data off not one, not two, but 27 phones by repeatedly inputting the wrong password. The FBI gave immunity deals to members of Hillary Clinton's team in return for destroying their laptops, then didn't prosecute anybody at all. The Democrat-run J6 committee didn't preserve or organize any of the documents or videos that its own rules required it to, and its communications with the Biden White House are now missing. Even though phone ping data has been used to catch hundreds of J6 participants, the FBI says it can't use those pings to find the J6 pipe bomber because that data was somehow corrupted. The pattern here is obvious. The people who think they have the right to spy on everything you do don't want any record of what they are doing. So for these gems and more, follow us on X at the unhappy hour. I'm sorry. What is it? At American_media_. Going to repost this from last week. Marjorie Taylor Greene has reintroduced articles of impeachment against DHS Secretary Mayorkas. I would just like to add that this should be included. This should be expanded to Kamala Harris, who is, what's her title? She was given a title. Border czar? Is it border czar? Or she's in charge of the border. And Biden for doing it as well. This should be for Mayorkas, impeachment for Harris, impeachment for Biden for dereliction of duty and treason. Marjorie Taylor Greene continues, while some members like Tom McClintock want to bloviate endlessly while imagining themselves wearing a powdered wig, the American people want action. These members whine about due process while protecting Mayorkas from facing accountability for his violation of our border security laws. Impeachment it would put Mayorkas in front of the Senate to face trial. We've seen the evidence of him breaking the law. It's time for the Senate to try him for it. This is last week. She introduced her articles of impeachment against Secretary Mayorkas because impeachment is exactly what the founders intended for the House to do when a member of the executive branch intentionally violates the laws written by the legislative branch. Go do it. By the way, comments. It looks like people are jumping back in. Thank you. Looks like the feed has calmed down. It kind of got on overload there for a moment. Dreamer was saying maybe it's a fake story if they have dirt on Tucker. All right, maybe. But I feel like if they had dirt on Tucker, they would have used it by now. Maybe. And then Dreamer asks, why not tax future wages a few years out? So DC Drano says, so let me get this straight. Let me see. Am I still sharing the page? Yeah, I think so. Elon owns a platform that was highly manipulated by leftist media activists to create the illusion of ads appearing next to extremist content. But the presidents of MIT, Harvard, and Penn say calling for the genocide of Jews is allowed on campus. And Elon's the one who gets boycotted? Yeah, so Bill Ackman is saying he wants Harvard, MIT, and UPenn's presidents to resign in disgrace. It was an absolutely disgraceful performance. That's what intifada means. That's what from the river to the sea means. It's an extermination because you're infested. All right, here we go. So this is from Nick Sorter. Just in, the Biden White House has sent a letter to Representatives James Comer and Jim Jordan demanding they stop pursuing Biden's classified documents scandal. The Biden administration is beyond corrupt. Biden was illegally and admittedly hiding classified documents in his garage and his closets for years, but the Department of Justice is ignoring it. Meanwhile, Biden is trying to put President Trump in prison for supposedly keeping presidential records. By the way, let me add presidential records that he was allowed to have at Mar-a-Lago. Commander-in-Chief, you can take what you want. You can declassify what you want. Biden was not a president for all of those records that he had. The Post continues, hold this man accountable, Comer and Jordan. Hold this man accountable. It sure seems like with the media kind of sinking their teeth in to Joe Biden and Hunter Biden that a change of, he's on his way out. Yeah, Riley Gaines should be Person of the Year. Anyway. Do I have more stories that I wanted to share with you? Maybe a couple. If there's anything I missed, type it in the chat. Let me see if there's any big story that I was supposed to get to that I haven't. Checking chat. Allegedly, theoretically. Yeah, let me scroll down. Okay, we are back. Am I still sharing? Or am I sharing? Oh, what's Tucker saying? Tucker says the Biden administration is openly threatening Americans over Ukraine. In a classified briefing in the House yesterday, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin informed members that if they don't appropriate more money for Zelensky, we'll send your uncles, cousins, and sons to fight Russia. Pay the oligarchs or we'll kill your kids. What friggin' monsters. Wow. That's what it's come to, folks. I don't know. It's just politics. I don't want to pay attention. I don't want to get involved. Well, they're getting involved with you. So if you don't want them to take charge of your life, maybe you should participate. What are some of these? Yeah, these are about Mike Pence. I'm going to skip past the Mike Pence stuff. But yeah, Patrick Byrne was saying January 6th, and they were given speakers badges, put up front with speaker in the loudspeakers, and then told the program was changed and they would not speak. That was in response to, yes, remember that you and General Flynn were planning to speak, but plans were abruptly and inexplicably changed. Patrick Byrne said he's been telling people this since the start. J6 was supposed to be at the mall, where sober government scientists were prepared to explain to Congress our concerns. But Pence's staff took over January 4, canceled the scientists, and turned it into a vapid pep rally at the White House. Bad judgment or sabotage? Okay. Something to think about. But here you go. Hunter Biden has been ordered to appear before Congress on December 13, 2023. Proceedings for contempt of Congress will be immediately initiated if Hunter does not appear. Comer and Jordan. There you go. Hey, there's a topic you're not allowed to talk about for some reason. Wow. MK Ultra and the slice of food that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles enjoy with pepperoni. Elon Musk brought that back into the headlines. MK Ultra back in the headlines. That was the CIA's illegal human mind control program. Goes hand in hand with the TMNT circular, triangular shaped pepperoni food. John is saying the U.S. food supply is poisonous, especially the bread. Potassium bromate, a known carcinogen, is added to the flour. Even countries like China have banned this substance. The FDA doesn't give a shit about you. You know, if we could just get decent food again, I'd appreciate that. So what is this? The stolen phones in Connecticut. We'll pass on that one for a second. So in Ireland, well, we covered this on the last show about searching your phone and arresting you for what you're posting and reading online. If you refuse, you could be sentenced to 12 months in prison. It's like a Black Mirror episode, but worse. Government of Ireland trying to pass a law before Christmas that can let police go into people's homes, confiscate their phones and computers. Huh. That might be worth paying attention to. Yeah, this was the Loomer report that I mentioned yesterday. While McCarthy leaving Congress is good for MAGA in the sense that he will no longer be there to sabotage, he is leaving at the end of the year on purpose to further diminish the House GOP's majority because he wants Republicans to lose the House once Trump is back in office. With George Santos out and McCarthy and Bill Johnson retiring, the House GOP are at serious risk of losing their majority. That's what they want. And when you think about how many of them are old and could pass away at any moment, the House GOP could very well lose their majority sooner than later. They did this on purpose to hurt Trump. That Kevin McCarthy, man. Clandestine writes this. We were talking about Epstein earlier. For those who don't know how the Epstein honeypot worked, allow me to explain. Epstein was a CIA Mossad asset who lured powerful people into compromising situations with minors, then would control them via blackmail. They sought out the crown, U.S. presidents, Saudi oil lords, anyone with power or influence. See Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, and George Bush below. The Epstein situation is so much more than just rich pedos trafficking minors. It was an intelligence operation by nefarious entities to essentially control global policy decision via blackmail. I mean, I know that. Don't we all know this? Maxwell and Epstein would hang out at other events that billionaires and powerful people hung out at, such as Trump's resorts. They would network, attempt to establish friendships, and penetrate inner circles of powerful people in the ruling class, then eventually try to lure them to the island once it was purchased in 1998. So it's no coincidence that Epstein and Maxwell were seen at events with Trump, Clinton, Kennedy, Elon, Prince Charles, Bill Gates. Why? Because they were seeking out the richest and most powerful people on earth in an attempt to control them. It's no accident they crossed paths. It was a honeypot operation. My point is, just because someone was associated with Epstein does not mean they were guilty of crimes against minors. It means that nefarious intelligence assets attempted to compromise that person. It worked on some, not all. These are those creepy pictures hanging up. So weird. Yeah, this hostage was released and had the dog with her. They're saying the hostages are given clonazepam, so that they're all like goofy and high when they come out, all happy and stuff. It's like, why are they so happy with their captors? Well, it's because they're high as a kite. The clonazepam. Yeah, SBG for Life says about Riley Gaines. What I'm still shocked by is how women athletes don't boycott and refuse to play. I mean, that would kind of take care of it, right? Jersey Wright says this is what guts and bravery look like. This is a hero and a true champion for women. Okay, I think I read that one. Oh, this is what Blake read earlier, but it's only 90 seconds. I could play. Okay, keep playing. Yeah, I think Vivek really kind of had that one in the barrel, ready to rock and roll with that one at the end of the debate. I think he finished very strong. I think that was important. What's Rogan saying here about the same topic? There you go. Agree or disagree with that one? Tom Fitton says that Jack Smith told a federal court that he wants to jail Trump for criticizing the Biden Justice Department. Look, if you're not criticizing the Biden Justice Department, you're not paying attention. Oh, yeah, I didn't even get to this. Wait, why is it silent? You know, Trump did this town hall. I was hoping we were going to be able to get a little bit of this in, but I guess here it is now. You can hear this. Okay, pause. I'm sharing the screen, but I'm not showing that it's. Is it playing? Okay, pause. I'm sharing the screen, but I'm not showing that it's. Is it playing? I've been playing you all these clips. I hope you're hearing them. That is a different screen than the one that I have. I've been playing you all these clips. I hope you're hearing them. Anyway. That is a different screen than the okay. One that I have. I'm sharing you a different screen than the one that I'm looking at. Oh, that's what happened. All right. Well, look, it's been a challenging day with some interesting tech issues, but we're supposed to do an interview at 8:15. If I get the link, I'll share it here at American_media_. And if you were able to check this out, I'm not sure if they're going to do it live or if they're going to record the interview and then post it later. But if possible, I will post you the link so that you can follow it. It's called the Talking with Timo show. Blake and I. It'll be fun getting asked questions instead of putting on a show for once. It's interesting to play both sides. There's not only two sides, there's many sides. It's interesting playing more sides than one. So we'll give it a shot, see how it goes. I appreciate you watching today, and we will come back at you later. Maybe we'll even be able to figure out why we're not streaming on Rumble. We sorted that out with the live stream yesterday, but we'll try it again on Tuesday. So I appreciate you. I love you. We'll talk to you again soon.